Howdy folks, Chief Meteorologist Nick Lilia here with your tropical update for June 18th of 2019. Brought to you by the good folks at Pine Belt Gutters. Still waiting for something to happen out there in the tropics, though I don't know that anybody's too terribly concerned about anything happening in the tropics. So I walked over here and it turns out that my monitor isn't turned on the right-hand side, the left-hand side for me, right-hand side for you guys on the screen. So I'm walking on here and I'm turning around going, wait a second. Monitor's not going. Anyway, Pine Belt Gutters is giving us or helping us out with these tropical updates. Generally, this time of the year, we're looking out into the Gulf of Mexico and into the Northwest Caribbean, as well as just off of the East Coast. Like I always say, we've got our little bullseye out here, kind of just off to the southeast of South Mississippi. As we head through July, we tend to look a little further out and into the Caribbean. We're not there quite yet, sitting in the middle of June. We still have to wait probably another week or two before we really start looking out there. And then once we get beyond that, as we get in later to the year, into August, that's when we really start looking out into the open Atlantic. We'll take a peek out there today. However, we're not too terribly concerned because all the warm water is a little bit closer to home. Temperatures out into the Gulf of Mexico hovering around kind of that low to mid 80 point. As you get out into the open Atlantic, you get down into the low 80s and into the upper 70s. But even temperatures in the Gulf, 84, 85 degrees, not crazy warm, a little above average, but not crazy warm. Notice, though, that a couple of these buoys are missing data. That actually has to do with a couple of the hurricanes that have rolled through over the last couple of years. I believe this one was working until Michael went through. This one was fully functional. We lost the temperature gauge on this one with Hurricane Nate, and I'm pretty sure that this one stopped working when Harvey went through. So over the last couple of years, given the systems that have rolled through, and that's why we're missing data. And you might say, well, why haven't they got out there in the last couple of years? I don't have the answer to that. My guess would be funding, but I have no idea. As we look into the Gulf of Mexico, we do have a couple of clusters of storms just off of the coast of Mississippi. We're still watching the blob off to the east coast of Florida. But outside of that, things are generally quiet. Looking out into the open Atlantic, yeah, there's clusters of storms down here just off of the Greater and Lesser Antilles, and as you kind of sweep your way out into the open Atlantic. But as you do, notice all the cloud cover here is actually moving from west to east. It denotes that we've got some shear in the vicinity, which is why we're not seeing much in the way of any development. And here's why we don't look off the coast of Africa just quite yet. The water's still kind of cool out here, so you get this big blow up of convection, and as these waves come off, they just kind of fall apart. I will say that this one down here, holding together pretty good as it slides off the coast of Africa, may be worth watching through the next couple of days, but it's going to have to go through a lot between here and any time that we would have to worry about it. There's going to be some shear in the way. We just saw that. There's some dry air coming off the coast of Africa. We're going to have to watch that as well. And then, oh yeah, by the way, it's still got about a week and a half to 2 weeks before it would ever be anywhere close enough for us to worry about. Speaking of that dry air, over on the 700 millibar moisture 850 vorticity map, you can actually see the dry air. That's the grayed out area in here, draped all the way across the open Atlantic and kind of into the Gulf of Mexico as well. As we head through time, look at Thursday. I mean, just pasted with dry air across the Gulf of Mexico, the Northwest Caribbean, out into the open Atlantic. Anywhere where we do have some low-level vorticity, 850 millibar vorticity in here, the greens and yellows, is very close to South America. That's normal for this time of the year. That just kind of happens down there. And then outside of that holding on, because that's normally where it is, we're still talking about dry air as we head through Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. And by the time we get toward Wednesday and Thursday, we get another shot of maybe some dry air in here as well. All of that is fantastic news because it means that for these tropical updates, again, brought to you by the good folks at Pine Belt Gutters, there's really not much to talk about outside of what's not happening, which is fantastic news, and that's the way we like to keep it. So there's your tropical update for June 18th of 2019.